So today I was going to teach you to do something acrobatic, but I hurt myself. So instead, we're going to focus on how to learn potentially anything effectively. By doing this properly, we're going to hopefully bypass some of those roadblocks that normally come along the way, and by the end of it, we'll turn you into your own coach. And I'm sure you'll do great. So a little bit about my credentials before we begin. I've coached developmental and high-performance athletes across several sports. Over the years, I've taken on many pursuits, learning things from music creation and playing to video editing, and I've become a very heavy DIY person. So this method is what most of my research and experiences have led me to, and I just want to share it with you. Now, before we begin, I'd like you to have something in mind that you either want to learn or are just starting to learn and are hoping to find an optimal route. While this isn't necessary, it will help you see your own personal applications to the method. Now, if you're not quite sure yet, don't worry about it. What I'm going to do in each step is give you an example skill to help you get some ideas going. So I've broken things down into 3 steps here that'll help you organize your thoughts and put them into a template to put all your research and ideas into one place. These are the 3 steps as follows. Number 1, R&D. Number 2, proper practice. And number 3 is social learning. Now, what are these things? How do they affect me? What's going on here? Let me tell you. So R&D is the step where we're going to build this long roadmap to take a look at what we want to learn and what we need to focus on along our journey. This will help us keep things fresh while moving our progress forwards. Number 2, proper practice. It's essential to stop looking at practice as just something where I'm going to plug away all of my time and efforts. It's better to instead look at it effectively and kind of become a personal coach here. What we're going to do is look at how a coach would push us along and tutor us as we're learning the skill and become that person for ourselves, hopefully building the toolkit we need to critically look at ourselves. Number 3 is social learning. You might think it's common advice to find a community to help grow and exchange with, but what we're going to do here is stop and find out what kind of community you need and how to best find them. Let's go. During the research and development step in the learning process here, I want you to consider what your goals are with this specific skill. You need to consider what the long and the short term goals are going to be if we're going to build a roadmap that's going to get you where you want to be while keeping you motivated. Before anything else, I need you to consider what things you'll be doing or making with this skill and the technical knowledge required to do them effectively. If I can't do that, I will fall down a YouTube and Reddit rabbit hole for a while till I find out what's essential with this thing. During this step, I'm going to have you, or rather, I'm going to pretend that you wish to learn to play music. If we wanted to be rock stars, where would we begin? It's a long road to go from holding a guitar to actually filling a Madison Square Garden. Now, I'm a heavy believer in practical hands-on learning first. That is to learn something tangible very quickly, then go back and forth between something like that and something more technical as we continue. This will help you stay motivated as we go on this long journey. So I want you to take a look at your end goal and find places to insert checkpoints as we continue the journey. This will help you stay motivated as we focus on the small term and build momentum instead of looking at this huge thing at the end of the line. I would recommend that you learn to play your favorite song, learn the chords, the strumming patterns, and put it together, and maybe get a feel for what the basics of playing guitar is like. Then, from there, you might repeat that process, learn 5, commit it to memory, and then have a basic understanding of what tools and tricks you're going to need to move forward. From there, I would research some other introductory, more technical aspects of guitar. Maybe learn to play scales, learn some introductory music concepts, and kind of go back and forth between those worlds. Ideally, we're enjoying the practical parts here while slowly filling in the gaps with our theoretical and technical knowledge. This will be key as we move on down the line. Now, as we slowly get a deeper understanding of what we're working towards, it would be an ideal time to maybe revisit the things that we've already done. So for instance, as we're learning songs quicker and quicker, I may slow down and pause and say, maybe I could learn these songs in a new way. Where in guitar you have different styles, it'd be really cool to see you go back to the first piece of music you learned and play it in a way that's different and more complex. While your skill set improves, so too should the complexity of your work. Why would you ever want to stay on level 1? Let's talk about why not just doing something continuously is effective practice, right? Effective practice is not just doing a task and hoping that it gets better. That would be the same as saying that I'm going to go for runs all the time and I will be the best sprinter I possibly could. No. Effective practice is mindful practice. So you might be questioning, how do we elevate practice? Well, there are two things. So the first thing is to have conscious practice. That is to be mindful of what we're doing. Now, if we're not paying attention to the mistakes and problems we're having as we're learning our skills, we're not going to be able to address those things. And if we don't have an active approach to our learning, it'll be a lot harder to correct our mistakes and move along the path. Now, you might think this is self-evident, but it's something to keep in mind, otherwise you're going to miss out on a lot. The second thing is to be able to analyze and break things down. If I face a problem and I don't know how to deal with it, I should always be able to break it down into smaller steps or smaller chunks and address those smaller problems. If I'm not doing that, I'm going to have a hard time getting from A to B when dealing with new problems. For this step of the process, I'm going to pretend you want to learn trampoline. You're a trampolinist now, in fact an intermediate one, and you are trying to learn a Rudy, which is a front flip with 1.5 twists. Sounds pretty daunting if you've never done it before, but this method will get you there. First, we're going to start with the second part, which is to analyze and break things down. Because this skill seems so daunting, how do we start? Well, let's think about this skill in parts, okay? This requires 1 full flip and a 1.5 twist. So how can I emulate that in chunks so I don't feel like I'm going to die? Well, there's a couple ways to do it, and it's very important to be creative. I'm just going to run you through a couple ones real quick and just get your mind rolling. So basically, I could do it like this. I could focus on the front flip aspect and slowly add twists where we do, okay, 1 with a half twist, 1 with a full twist, and slowly get ourselves around to 1.5 by taking those baby steps. If that wasn't your style, maybe I will practice on the twist itself and slowly add the flip to it. So I will do a 1.5 twist. Then I'll make sure I could do that falling in different directions, forwards, backwards, eventually going from half a flip until I'm really thinking about doing the full thing. So now that we have our Rudy, we're going to think about how I'm going to elevate my practice of it. What I'm going to do is find ways to coach myself. I'm going to compare myself to the pros. Now, because I can't see what's going on in real time, it would make sense for me to record it with video and then compare with professional footage. Go back and forth. Does it look proper? Does it look professional? What are the things that are going wrong? At the end of the day, it's just about paying attention to what I'm trying to do as I do it. Pay attention to the end goal and how I can get myself over there. Be critical of each and every little mistake, but don't be too hard on yourself and work through it. Easier said than done, I know. So let's take a look at social learning, because some skills just don't make sense without other people. And it's almost always helpful to have a community around you that can help partake in your growth. Thankfully, we live in a very interconnected world that has a variety of options out there that can help you out. More often than not, if you go looking, you'll find there are plenty of subreddits, Twitch streams, Discords, and even YouTube channels dedicated to help building your craft. So let's take a look at what is the right one for you. So before you just go join any community, it's important to stop and take a look at what your needs are specifically. What kind of exchange are you looking for? How much time will these people need to offer you to give you some real help? And how much time are you willing to help? Remember, no community is one-sided. You're going to need to be a part of this exchange. So suppose I wanted to learn another language, like Japanese. Now, short of me just going to a sushi restaurant or harassing some corner store downtown Tokyo, how would I find other people to practice with? Where would the exchange be? Well, a quick Google search will give me a list of resources, and it's actually surprisingly really good. And even if, with all these resources, I couldn't find what I was looking for, it's very likely that one of your favorite content creators that is in the field that you're interested in has built an online community of like-minded individuals. Now, before you just dive into the Discord and go gung-ho, you should probably make sure that you are accustomed to what's going on. Spend some time lurking, find out the unwritten rules and all of the guidelines, and make sure that you don't shoot yourself in the foot on your first day. Social etiquette is important. So I can't really show you this step as it would infringe on pretty much everyone else's privacy. What I can tell you though is that I did try something similar to this before, I went looking through different teaching resources for Japanese, and I found that my city offered a night school program once a week. And I met some great people there, had some lasting friendships over the years, and I learned quite a bit. Even though I didn't keep it up throughout the rest of my life, I feel like I learned some valuable lessons, and it was really cool. Maybe not in a post-COVID world, but I'm sure there are some things out there that are still offered. So that's all 3 steps. I hope you find it useful, and if you find yourself going back, know that's totally fine. This stuff is pretty much cyclical. I fully expect a bunch of you to go back and revise your timeline as you learn something and continue to grow and develop. Life is ever changing, so feel free to shake up what you're doing as much as you want. In the end, it's really about the consistent effort and pushing forward. This is just to help you optimize things a little bit. If you found it helpful, please feel free to subscribe, drop a comment below, maybe even hit the like button. I upload twice a week, and I try to keep things entertaining. I hope you found value, because I definitely did. But that's everything from me. I hope you're having a fantastic week. I will see you in the next one. Hello, I am Ryan. I wish to audition for role of YouTuber, yes? Okay.